Hello, everyone. How are you? So glad to be here with you on a Saturday night. Um, hopefully, we're getting some notifications that I'm live for whoever's on LinkedIn or Facebook on a Saturday night, like I am. For those of you I haven't met yet, I'm Lauren Lefkowitz. I'm an executive leadership coach, and I work with people to escape the trap of being fine and break the work sleep repeat cycle. So, if you're here with me tonight, please know that I love a conversation. My favorite is when I can involve you in what I'm talking about, hear from you, chat with you. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about rest, which is a funny subject for me because I didn't know how to do it for a very long time. I'm going to talk about a little bit about my path to learning how to rest, how I work with some of my clients on finding time and space and the ability to relax enough to rest, which is a slow and deliberate process and can make you feel really antsy. So if you're with me, welcome. And tell me in the comments what your relationship is with rest. I'd love to hear. And I am just going to pull up my own LinkedIn in case comments are not coming through. I've had that happen. It also may be the case that on a Saturday night at 8:30 Eastern, there is nobody watching me, which is a-okay because I sort of am expecting that tonight. But I'm glad to have you here with me if you are. And I'm going to be talking about rest. So you'll have to excuse my red cheeks tonight. I am a person who has rosacea, and there it is in all its glory. Sometimes I cover it up with makeup, and sometimes I don't bother. And I'm in a situation right now where my apartment is very warm. We're in this in-between period where I live in an older building, and we have this space between winter and summer and winter where we only have heat or we only have air conditioning. And so it's not quite warm enough for us to have heat turned off, but it's hot. Today it was 80 degrees. And so the inside of my apartment is quite warm. So thanks for being here. Here are my cheeks. Welcome to my world. This is the world I live in right now. If you are with me, and I'm hearing me now, this is like very confusing. I do see that there are comments coming in LinkedIn or in my iPad, but I'm having trouble accessing them without hearing me talk to me talking to you. So I'm going to try one more time. And I do see that there are comments coming in. Oh, there we go. I can turn the volume down. There we go. All right. We're going to be okay, you guys. This is gonna all work out. Okay. Thanks for bearing with me. Oh, terrific. There we go. Kate Bays says happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Saturday night. Appreciate it. And Barbara Weiner says, or Weiner, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, says hi. Nice to see you. Kate says, I have to set a bedtime timer on my phone. Yeah, that's a good practice. Brittany says, hi, everyone. I have the exact same skin. You look great. Thank you. I appreciate that. And smiles from Kate. That's awesome. Thank you so much. So my chat in Restream, where I'm streaming from, is not working, but my chat in LinkedIn on the app is. And so bear with me as I look down and look up. I see several versions of me now. Restream has me in the center, it has me on the side, and now I see me in front of me with a slight delay. So confusing, but fun. So if you're with me, tell me a little bit about how you relax. Like, what are some things you do to relax, or what are some things that you don't do that is relaxing for you? Like, what's your version of nothing? And as you're telling me, I'll tell you, Brittany says that sounds thrilling to see 3 versions of me. So thrilling. It's like I'm in a time machine and I'm looking at me in the past, but only like 30 seconds in the past. So Brittany says, I gotta love technology. Yeah, you bear with it. I went on tonight impromptu. I've been inviting people to my lives and I've been pre-posting them. And LinkedIn shut down my ability to invite people to lives on Thursday. So I got like halfway through inviting and I got shut down. And then Friday I couldn't invite anybody. Today I couldn't invite anybody. So there's somebody in LinkedIn helping me with that. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll be fixed for tomorrow so that I can invite my friends and my community who are coming to my lives. But usually I do love technology, and I love that we're in like a day and age where we can all connect all the time, however we want to, and we can shut it down whenever we want to. So let's talk about relaxing, resting. If you don't know me, and you may be new to me, I'm a former workaholic. I am currently an executive leadership coach. I'm also a laughter yoga leader. I just got certified and I just held my first classes in the last couple of weeks. So that's really fun. And it sounds so funny coming out of my mouth that my career, my job is executive leadership coach. I am a laughter yoga leader. Like, old workaholic me would never believe this. I had a 20-year HR and operations career. I was the interim vice president of every department in my organization while I was there. And I had to learn how to not work 80, 90, 100-hour weeks in order to learn to relax. And for me, I always got joy from work until I didn't. Right. I hit this like wall where I no longer was enjoying work and I was just doing it because it was what I knew to do. And I didn't really have any hobbies. And, I saw friends, but I was careful. I wouldn't plan more than like one dinner per week because, like, if I could convince myself that was the night I was going to take off early, which was usually 6 or 7, then I would work late all the rest of the nights of the week to make up for it. So, not a great practice. But when I was enjoying it, it felt great to me to do that because I was accomplishing stuff. I was making an impact. And then I hit this wall where I didn't want to do any more things. And I hired myself a coach. I'd been coaching for 15 years, internally, externally, side gigging. And I realized that something I didn't work with my clients on, and I couldn't really, because you have to be like one step ahead of where your clients are. You don't have to be perfect. I never will be, but you have to know the areas of your life that you need to explore so that you're not blocked from being able to help your clients. And when I would talk to clients about them being so busy, it was kind of like, yeah, that's how work is, And so it was a pitfall. It was a hole in my ability to coach that didn't allow me to be my best self and my best coach and like the best person for me. And so I hired a coach and I started working on less, right? So my whole thing over the last few years has been more less, so that I could have downtime, so that I could have time to relax and regenerate energy and just be, right? Just sort of be in a place. And what first happened when I started working fewer hours, I went from 80 to 60 pretty quickly over, I would say 2 or 3 months, was that my brain was all freaked out because I didn't know what to do with my time. So I would go to my coaching sessions and say I want to work more. I want to go back to working more. It's not enough. I don't have enough on my plate. 60 hours is not enough for me. Like it's so warped in my head now. But at the time it felt correct to me that if I didn't have any hobbies, I may as well work. And so there was then some conversation about like, well, what if you picked up some hobbies? Right. And so I have. So the short story from the long story is I have picked up habits. I've learned how to knit. I connect with my friends way more than I used to, even in this pandemic world where we go back and forth between being able to see each other and not being able to see each other. I really have just learned to have downtime. I've learned to get comfortable. I meditate. I do a little bit of yoga. I spend more time with my dog, who's like at my foot, like she's always with me. But I like spend more time being with her. I spend more time choosing. Hey, Dale, thanks for joining. If you're just joining, my comments, I can't share them on Restream. They're not coming up on Restream, but I have learned my lesson and I have my iPad in front of me so I can see the comments. Brittany is saying, this is fascinating. Thank you for sharing. I have no idea if this is on topic, but what does a typical workday look like for you as a coach? I think it's a fantastic career path. I'm getting a little bit cut off. I think it's a fantastic career path, but I have a mental block. Like, what makes me think I'm good enough to pay people for my services? Yeah, I can talk about that. We'll take a little interlude from rest and talk about that. So my typical day now, I see clients Sunday through Wednesday. And I do that for a couple of reasons. One, I actually really like working on Sundays. I save time for brunch in the morning if I'm going to go out and have brunch with somebody. But I find it really great to work on Sundays and see clients. First of all, it's great for clients because there are some clients of mine who don't want to, who don't yet have the capability to take time during the middle of the workday. And so I see them on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, and then Wednesday afternoon, evening, again, so that I can get some people in during evening hours. And then the rest of the time I'm working on marketing, networking, sort of the back end stuff, some training stuff, talking to potential clients, booking speaking gigs. I've been on some podcasts. I've spoken at some conferences. On Thursdays, I do sort of light work. I'll do some of my own training. I'm trying to learn Instagram right now, for example. So I'm in this Instagram club that I pay a monthly fee for, that I'm learning Instagram because I'm at that age where I get technology, but I need to learn it. So, I'm not as young as I used to be. And then Fridays, I have something that I attend. That's a group I attend on every other Friday, but most Fridays I don't do a ton of work. And then I never work on Saturdays. And in total, I work 40 hours a week or less. So I hope that answers your question, Brittany. And I'm happy to talk to you. If you want to DM me, I can talk to you about it. And the what makes me think people will pay for my services. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you because same, right? I had 20-year HR career. I'd been coaching for a bunch of time. I finally went and got my certification. I went through a certification program last year, and I had never tracked hours, so I couldn't get certified right off. So I went through a program, learned a lot about a whole different kind of coaching, about ontological coaching. And check out, Brittany, if you haven't seen it. I think it was 2 nights ago. No, I think it was last night, actually. I talked about imposter syndrome. So go back through my videos, and I talked about that feeling of who the hell am I, who to charge money for things I feel like other people know. They don't. You're special. I promise. But I'm happy to talk to you. Shoot me a DM. We can catch up. So anyway, back to rest. Let's talk about rest. And Brittany says, absolutely. Thanks. Awesome. So here I was, workaholic. unraveling from being a workaholic, becoming a better coach because I was unraveling from being a workaholic. So I was sort of, living the way that now I work with clients to live. And slowly building hobbies and shifting from binge watching TV as a default to like deciding when I want to watch TV. Shifting from trying to squeeze in 15 minutes of yoga to like deciding I'm a person who does yoga, and now I'm going to make sure that I watch a yoga video almost every day. I'm doing some habit tracking now too, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I had to learn to rest and relax. I grew up in a generation of 80s kids. I'm in my 40s. I'm a Gen Xer. And I grew up busy. We were busy kids. We had some activities, not the way kids have activities today. There are a lot more activities today, but we had some activities, but we also like just didn't get bored. If we were bored, we were sent outside. All of us, like, this wasn't my parents torturing me. This was like everybody. This is how we lived. And so we always had something to do, whether it was reading, whether it was playing a game, whether it was playing outside, riding our bikes. We always had something to do. And if we weren't doing something, then there was homework or chores or whatever. And then I went to college and we were busy. And then I started going to work, and I just got busier and busier. And so anytime I sat down, I thought like, well, what should I do? And in fact, when I first left my corporate career and went full time with my coaching job, I suddenly had even more time on my hands because I went from 80 hours a week to 60 hours a week. Then I got myself to 40 hours a week. Again, took time. It takes time. You don't build these habits overnight. You don't unbuild them overnight either. Or tear them down, take them down, unravel them, whatever. And so then I quit my job and I could dedicate 40 hours a week to my coaching career. And I wasn't as busy yet, right? Like I didn't have a full load of clients. I still have room today for some new clients. But I went from 40 hours a week of corporate work, 20 hours a week of coaching work, to 40 hours a week of coaching work, no corporate work, nobody needing me in like immediacy. When you're in a corporate job, and especially when you're in HR, everybody needs you right now. And when you're a coach, you get occasional calls from clients or texts that say like, hey, do you have a few minutes? And I do make myself available on demand. I think that's really important, to not make your clients wait if they're in crisis or if they're having some challenges and they want to catch up with you in shorter term. But I had all this time on my hands and I didn't know what to do with it. And I started this project where I live in a condo. I have 2 windows. I face one direction. And the windows are 96 inches wide. So they're super wide. And I have blinds on the windows. And my first week after I had stopped working a corporate job, I spent the morning cleaning the individual slats on my blinds with Clorox wipes, and they were generic Clorox wipes. So they were not great to begin with. So every slat, I needed like 2 or so Clorox wipes. And I got halfway through, it was like an hour or so, and I backed up to admire my work, and the blinds looked the same. They didn't look any different because they don't need Clorox wipes. They're like dustable and I dust. So I realized I needed to learn how to relax better. And so I've been working on that. And I continue to work on it. But I want to tell you about the habit tracker that I created. I recently was adopted by an accountability partner who is a very dear friend of mine and also a coach. And we decided, he actually asked me if I would be his accountability partner for some habit building. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever you need. And then he was like, no, it's both of us. Like if we're doing it, it's not me asking you for help. It's us doing this together. And so I was like, oh, right. Okay. Yes. I receive help also. Yes, I get that. So we built our habit trackers, and the things on my habit tracker are not, there are a couple of work things, there are a couple of business development kinds of things and professional development. But I also have 30 minutes of reading, which for me is relaxing and is something that I like busy myself away from. So I have all these amazing books waiting for me, and they just keep waiting. I've been halfway through this one book, which I picked up this morning actually to keep reading. I've been halfway through this one book on conscious leadership that I've been reading for, I don't know, 6 months or so. And I've read a couple of books in between, but my reading used to be very avid. And because I used to feel pressure to keep busy, I would like squeeze in reading because it was important to me. With the less busyness, nothing has to be squeezed in. So there's less pressure to do stuff. And so, so I have learned to relax, and I have put that on my habit tracker. I have meditating every day on my habit tracker. I have yoga every 5 days a week, I think, on my habit tracker. I have water on my habit tracker, which is like right next to me all the time. And sometimes I can go the whole day and drink almost nothing. So I'm trying to build some habits that are like relax, slow down, do less kind of habits. And what I have learned about myself is that I need to be deliberate. That for me, it has to be that I'm not on and then off, right? Or on and then like collapsing. And that's sort of the way I used to be when I worked all the time. I was on all the time. And then when I wasn't on, I just flipped on Netflix or Prime or HBO. Like I've got all the channels. I live a life of luxury. But I have all the channels, and I would just find something to watch because I was tired and I would like flop down on the couch. So now if I have downtime, when I have downtime, because now I've created a life that allows me a lot of downtime. And when I have downtime, I choose what I'm going to do. I picked up knitting. My friend Patty taught me to knit, and I'm getting faster at it. I'm very good at it. It's probably because I'm so tightly wound. I have like excellent tightly knit, even stitching. But I also found it really relaxing. I find it really fun and really relaxing, and it gets my phone out of my hand, which is, another thing that I think we all struggle with is if we're not busy, we pick up our phones and, we're looking at something. Even if we are busy, we're sometimes just like escaping to our phones or social media. So knitting for me, we're doing a jigsaw puzzle, like gets my hands busy so that I'm not touching my phone. And for me, when I was so busy, I legitimately had to schedule in downtime. And so I would put it on my calendar, and I didn't knit yet, but I would put a time on my calendar to read. I would put a time on my calendar for meditation. I haven't been journaling recently, but I was doing a 5-minute journal exercise for a while. I had it every morning on my calendar at 7:30. And then I had a meditation group that met a couple of times a week, which I'm still in, at 8:00. And on the other days, I would mark down to meditate myself. And for me, that was a great kickoff to the day. And it was a great deliberate kickoff to the day. And so when I'm working with my clients on relaxing and finding hobbies, it's less about I don't have time. And it's more about let's look at time. Let's look at your calendar. I never really thought about the mornings as being time. And I don't have kids who need me. I don't have any kids, but I don't have kids who need me in the morning, which I know is a different place to be. And I work with clients who have kids, and we work out other things. But for me, I have a history of chronic illness, and was sick and not living well for most of my 30s. And then I was also working all the time, which I'm sure exacerbated all the things I had going on. But I had, during my 30s, I had a really hard time getting up and getting out of bed in the morning because of the illness. And now that I live well, it didn't occur to me that my mornings could be different, because we get into these default ways of being. And so I still was getting up in the morning and doing the same things I always did, which was like checking my phone, checking my email, walking the dog, coming in, sitting on the couch for a little while, kind of having a slow start to the morning. And what I found is that now that I'm healthier, I can activate in the morning a lot more. And what I've learned with a lot of my clients is if we actually walk through the day, almost everybody, including people who have little ones running around, can find spots of time in the day. And relaxing and resting doesn't have to be 3 hours of downtime, or I'm knitting for an hour, or I'm going for a run for 45 minutes, or you'll never catch me running. Just if you're getting to know me now and you're like, oh, I live in the same neighborhood as Lauren, maybe we'll go running together. We will not. I will hold your stuff. And when you come back, I'll give you a cool drink or a cup of coffee, whatever you want, but I'm not going running with you. So working in relaxation for one of my clients had no time at all. None. Just kids, work, dinner, more work, right? And so when we started working together, it was all work all the time. What we worked out for her was 5 minutes in the bathroom drinking coffee, which like is a little gross. She wasn't going to the bathroom while she was drinking coffee, but to have 5 minutes, she was in a place where people didn't bother her when she was in the bathroom. Her little ones weren't that little that they were like peeking under the door and putting their fingers under the door like, Mom, are you done? But so she took 5 minutes where she took her coffee into the bathroom and she sat on the edge of the bathtub for 5 minutes in the morning just to have a little time. I have another client who goes into every time she uses the restroom, she stands by the sink for an extra 2 minutes and she does square breathing, which is also called box breathing, which is like you pick a number of seconds, whatever you're comfortable with, 4, 5, 6, and you breathe in for that number of seconds, you hold for that number of seconds, you breathe out for that number of seconds, hold for that number of seconds, and start it over. And if you do that for the same number of times that you have seconds, so let's say you're doing 5 seconds, which is a 20-second round, like 5 in, 5 hold, 5 out, 5 hold. And you do that 4 times, 20 seconds, 4 times, that's 80 seconds. Math's not my best skill. I'm not a financial coach. That's 80 seconds, right? So that's like less than 2 minutes of just breathing and being and just being with yourself that we don't take for ourselves. And so as you're thinking about you and what might work for you and what might be able to shift for you, think about small pockets of time. Don't think about how you change your whole day, right? We never change all of our habits at once. And that's why coaching, a 1-session coach, I don't recommend. I don't know a lot of coaches who just do 1 session, but 1 session is inspiring, just like a training is inspiring, just like listening to a keynote speaker is inspiring. And then you get off that 1 session call and you're like, this is going to be amazing. And then you don't do any of the work because you have to build habits. You have to figure out how to sustain. You have to have a backslide where you like totally F up a whole week and you come back and you're like, I effed up the whole week. And then we explore what happened and why you effed up the whole week. And you undid all of the habits that you've been building. So give yourself some grace. Find yourself 5-minute pockets, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is. Go for a walk during your lunch break. Have a lunch break. Even if your lunch break is 10 minutes, step away for 10 minutes so that you're not looking at work all the time. And what you will learn, we have this panic response. I see it in all my clients. It existed with me. We have this panic response that the 10 minutes we step away is going to be the 10 minutes someone's looking for us. And especially if we're working from home, is going to be the 10 minutes that we think people don't think we're working. People think we're lazy. When really, when you give yourself a little bit of time, you come back with some energy to do more work and to interact more. And like everybody's missing for 10 minutes at a time or 20 or 30, right? But start slow. If you have no time in your day, if you're just right in the middle of not being able to do anything except work, then Give yourself these little pockets, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and let me know how it goes. What I have heard from people is when they start giving themselves 2 and 5 and 10 minutes, they want more of it. And they start finding more pockets of time that normally they would just like get some work done, answer some emails, answer a phone call. All of the work will still be there, right? And I also work with my clients on how to not have so much work, which we all think, and I certainly did, that when we have this much work, there's no way out except leaving the company. I would say about at least half of my clients do leave their jobs because they realize that they need something different, and that usually it's that they've outgrown, not usually, a lot of the time though, it's that they've outgrown their job. So they pick up other work and then they're bogged down with a ton of stuff. And being busy is not a substitute for being happy, and it's not a substitute for finding satisfaction in your work. It's avoidance. It's a way to avoid looking at what you actually want, because what you actually want feels really scary, and any kind of change feels really scary. So start doing some rest activities. You don't have to do nothing where you just like twiddle your thumbs and wonder when the time is going to pass. You can try guided meditation. All the apps, and like YouTube, there's a Calm app, there's a Headspace app. YouTube has a ton of videos of every length for every kind of meditation. There's a 3-minute focus in the Calm app that I love. That is like, if I'm just busy and I'm sort of swirling around, I have 3 minutes. I never don't have 3 minutes. Even if it means, I've never done this, but I would, like, even if it means I'm going to be late to the next thing, 3 minutes, like if I really need a break, I'm going to have a break. I'm in a place now where I work in breaks. So I don't have less than 15 minutes between appointments usually. And I'm not usually doing like a billion appointments in a row. So I have that built in now. But earlier, I would need to schedule myself 5 minutes or 15 minutes to do something. And if I had a meeting that ended early, to do like a 3-minute meditation or some square breathing or something to get myself a break from the, and Brittany says Headspace is free for educators. I didn't know that, Brittany. Thanks for sharing that. That's great. If you can find yourself a couple of minutes, that's the start. And what it's going to do is it's going to make you hungry for more. And you may not be able to figure out more. And that's when you get support. And that's when you work with a coach or mentor or me as your coach. And really then you start the real long-term sustainable transformational change. But you're not expected to change your whole life alone. And that's what most of the people who come to my lives, most of the people I talk to who are in my network are high achievers and hard workers. And Brittany, if you're a teacher, which I see you have an MEd, or if you're a transitioning teacher, like you may not have time in the classroom, right? I've not been a teacher, but my mom was a teacher. I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and like, you don't have permission to go to the bathroom in the middle of the day when you're, especially with the young ones. Like, I get that you may not have that during the day, but then get to work 4 minutes early and go into the restroom and just stand at the mirror and breathe. Or the second you leave work, before you turn your car on to drive home, do something then. Do a 3-minute meditation, or do a few minutes of breathing, or just laugh, right? I mentioned I'm a laughter yoga leader, and I'm going to be starting some stuff on LinkedIn in the near future. So stay tuned for that. But carve out a little bit of time for yourself. You deserve it. You don't have to earn it. You simply deserve it, because you're a human being who has a life outside of the busyness. And so I'm going to end now. And I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. If you want to talk to me, if you want to set up an appointment to talk to me about coaching, about hiring me as your coach, or just about whatever situation came up for you here, just a networking call, send me a DM. I'm happy to have a conversation. And I did see Shubik put in the chat, which was a little bit off topic, so I didn't address it. How do you go live on LinkedIn? You've got to get approved by LinkedIn. If you go into the help section of LinkedIn, and type that in, they'll tell you the process, but you've got to get approved to do it. And then you have to use a streaming service. So thank you so much for being here. I will be live tomorrow, I think around 8 p.m. I will post it earlier in the day. I haven't picked the topic yet. So if there's something that you are dying to hear about, let me know in the chat or send me a DM. I'm happy to talk about any topic related to getting out of this trap of being fine, breaking that work, sleep, repeat cycle, finding a life that is better for you than fine. That is my passion. That is where my heart is. And I want everybody in the world to understand that they have choice, even if you're in a place where you don't feel like you have choice. So have a wonderful night. I will see you tomorrow. And thanks for being here. Bye.